Thanks. At here. Websites.com. And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to live every weeknight, Edmund on Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. So I was just watching a show over on the Google. So it's sort of like a TED Talks. They have these chats at Google or talks at Google. I probably can turn that for a little while. And I watch these things. Talks at Google is the channel. It's got 1.2 million subscribers to that channel. I don't know why you would bother to subscribe to that channel, but whatever. Anyway, it's sort of like a TED Talks mixed with I don't know where these things are, how often they happen. I've never paid enough attention to them to pay attention if it's like a yearly thing or maybe it's monthly. Holy crap, this one is from 2017 and it has 7 million views. It's really good though. Anyway, so it's sort of like a TED Talks, but it's sort of just presentations, I guess. I think everyone I've seen has been in like an hour. Anyhow, this one is, oh yeah, I'll throw the link on here. This one is Frank Abagnale. So the guy from Catch Me If You Can. You ever seen that movie? Except this is the real life guy. And it's super good. I'm 25 minutes into an hour thing, and that's what I've been listening to. So I started listening to that earlier. And it's the equivalent of couldn't put it down. He's weird. He talks like there's no pauses, but it's efficient. Like he talks efficiently, like a teacher, like a professor, somebody who's used to getting information across. But the movie is, a fake movie version of what happened. But when he talks about what happened, man, it's interesting. So anyway, I've been listening to that, and I think I had this thing up a half an hour ago or a half an hour early, but nobody had really said anything in here until erstwhile started chatting. So that's when I went live here. All right, so now that we're live, I imagine the alerts will go out, and I guess we are being corked on Discorking right now. So welcome to everybody who's showing up. We got erstwhile was out there for a while, and Night Strike is in here now. Got Ozzy, DTP, Weston. Evening. What you said you wanted to come in here? What do you want? What are you coming in here for?
Well, you said you were going to talk about GRPC 2020 in Orlando, so I'm going.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I put the title in there. I often don't talk about whatever is in the title of this thing. This is all clickbait, and I don't know if it's clickbait so much.
I know you're big on the clickbait. It's okay.
Well, it's just use an efficient use of the thumbnail. So if somebody's going to look at a thumbnail, might as well let them know that the Gun Rights Policy Conference is a thing, right? I mean, it's really just to get the word out there. So yeah, I don't have a problem talking about it. They were talking about it on Crump's show earlier. So what is today? Tuesday? You were probably getting quirked by Crump at some point. Were you live today?
I did not get a chance to do hit or miss today because I was working on that server I posted earlier on Instagram on GunTube's Instagram account.
Oh, well, then you didn't. But whoever, Sandhills or Travis or somebody else.
Travis filled in for me. So.
Oh, Travis had a show. Okay, that's why. So somebody else was live today. And then anyway, somebody probably got quirked by Crump. But Crump's show is, talking to 2A people. Talking to Rhonda Ezell. So Ezell versus City of Chicago. The Supreme Court case that said the City of Chicago can't stop gun ranges from being there, I believe. And I'm summarizing it. But anyway, then Chicago Guns Matter, yeah. And anyway, so she was on, and they were talking about the GRPC, and they said something like Crump was like, "Well, I don't know if it's happening," and I'm like, "Well, fuck, I'll put the link in there." So I just happened to have all that shit up because I was dropping a link into Crump's chat, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll just use it." Like I was just saying, I'll just make the thumbnail GRPC. But yeah, so GRPC is the Gun Rights Policy Conference. This will be the 35th year of it.
Yeah.
Started back in 85, I guess, then. And then this year, it travels each year. This year, it'll be in Florida. And then it's almost always in September. And it's usually the third weekend. So this year, it's September 18th through the 20th. The 18th is a Friday. And it's GRPC itself is the conference that'll happen like Friday night is a get together, Saturday all day as a conference, and then Sunday pretty much half day, beginning of the day as a conference. But the day before, that's September 18th, the Friday during the day, the AmCon. I don't know what that's supposed to stand for, but it's the 2A media get together. Will be in its fourth year this year in Florida. So anyway, that's how far for you?
It's a few 100 miles, but I found a really good deal because I could take the train. So I got a round trip ticket from the Amtrak train from where I'm at to down there, and it was only like $100.
You ever taken a train anywhere before?
I have when I was younger with family, but I don't mind the long ride as long as it gets from point A to point B.
We'll always get there, but trains are better when you're a little kid or a little tiny person, I'm thinking, but whatever. So then what you're
Right,
gonna
but it beats a $400 airplane ticket. Okay,
there's no way an airplane could be $400 from
most of the time
Orlando.
it is.
What is your airport by you? What airport do you go to?
I usually use the Charleston airport. So
Yeah, Charleston, North Carolina.
south.
Oh, Charleston's in South Carolina?
Yeah, it's where the Civil War started.
I don't know about that, but I knew I thought we flew there. I thought. No, wait, did we go to Charleston? I thought we went to Charleston in whatever year. I could have sworn it was North Carolina, but I don't pay attention, I guess. Anyhow, so Charleston's a big airport, though, right? It's not it's tiny airport.
It's not a tiny airport. It's just I don't know, for some reason we get whenever we want to go somewhere away from South Carolina, it's like the tickets are more expensive than it would if I was going up north or something.
All right, well, that seems weird to me because Orlando's like Vegas. It's one of those places where you would think there'd be, basically almost a commuter flight, like a flight happening often.
Yeah. You think they'd want more visitors and whatnot, but it's the airlines. What do you expect?
Whatever. So if you're not going to fly, you're going to think, why not just drive? It's got to be however many days, 5 days worth of rental car ain't that much, and then you got a rental car right away. Otherwise, what are you going to Uber when you get there from the train station?
Yeah.
You kids and your Ubers. Anyway, so,
I did that when I went and visited Phoenix last year. I used Uber and Lyft.
Well, I thought you just had your family drive you around.
No, I used Uber and Lyft to get to the conference the first day, and then I hung around with Angry for the rest of the days.
So you're just going to stay at the hotel where it's at this time?
No, I got a hotel about a mile down the road.
Oh, okay, so you already got your stuff all together then.
Yeah.
All right. So cool. And then let's see. So we already talked about that. I was going to go chat about the calendar. So today is 9th, right? And that gives us Second Amendment Foundation is the one that puts on the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Alan Gottlieb started the Gun Rights Policy or the Second Amendment Foundation back in like 75 or 76. And his wife is Julianne, I don't know how to say that, Versnell, I don't know. And anyway, today's her birthday. So she's the director of operations of Second Amendment Foundation. And she's the one who was up at the podium for most of the time last time, like introducing everybody. Her birthday. And then I got in here this battle from Vietnam that I'm not going to really get into Vietnam battles, but when I first started building the calendar, I had a couple of anniversaries in there. Yeah, so Weston's saying, why not drive? Probably a 6 hour drive. I mean, to me, I would definitely drive. I mean, I can understand, I guess, a train, but trains are so tiny.
I know, but I wanted to try something different. Plus, it
How
hardly
long is
cost me
the
nothing.
train? How long is $100 train? So if you leave and it's like if you drove, well, let's figure this out.
Uh,
Just start screen sharing.
From what I read on the ticket I bought, it's like 7 hours and like 23 minutes.
8 hours on that train, you're gonna have to poop on that train at some point.
They've got bathrooms.
Yeah, that's tiny little train bathrooms that squirt all around. No way. Are you gonna be able to get off of that train? Like if they stop somewhere at some train station, you're able to get off and stretch your
No,
legs?
it's straight ticket. Straight ticket.
What does that mean? Straight ticket? Like they don't even stop that train for 7 hours?
Well, I wouldn't want to get off.
Well, I mean, like at a train station, if they stop for like a half an hour at a train station, they got to let you off.
I guess.
I don't know. I don't know how long they stop at train stations.
I don't know either.
But I'm just going off of movies and shit. Like back in the old days, if they'd stop at a train station, you could get off and like eat something at the counter, like go at the restaurant or whatever, meet somebody and chat. And then as long as you got back on the train, you still had your seat and all that shit. So you're basically by Charlotte, and where is this place?
No, I'm by Charleston. Charleston. It's further south than Charlotte. Go straight south of Charlotte. You'll see Charleston.
Okay, so I went to Charlotte, so that's why we're talking about two different things. You're talking about Charleston. So
I'm going from Charleston.
that's a dink airport. So if you went to a real airport that wasn't a dink. So look, I'm not the one who fucking says that. Look at this map. Look at how big the United States is, and then look at how big like Chicago and Philadelphia are, and look how big Orlando is, and then look how big Charleston is. That indicates your dinkness. If you went to Charlotte or Jacksonville, it wouldn't cost you shit to drive to or to fly to Orlando. But you're in like this is probably some like this whole bay is probably full of like fancy people in their fancy mansions having fancy vacations. So of course they're gonna charge you $400. When they hand you your airline ticket, they put their pinky up.
All right. Thank you for mansplaining airline tickets to me. Okay.
Yeah. Now you know. So you've got to just either move or deal with it. So yeah, I don't know why this guy wouldn't drive. So let's figure out real quick how long this would take to drive. So Charleston.
I don't like driving long distances.
This isn't a long distance. This is like not even a long distance.
I don't want to drive it. I don't want to drive it. That's also the point.
Get somebody else to drive then. What? Ready to ride in a car that long?
I'm the only one I know that's
5 hours. It's going to take you 5-6 hours to drive there, and you're going to take 7 hours in a train. That doesn't even add up.
My car can't get that far, and I'm not going to renting a car because it would cost more to rent a car for that duration than it would to take the train.
That's accurate, yes. But 2 hours less. Where's this train track go? Do you even know? They don't show it on the map, probably. Lame. It would be cool if the train went like, is there special train bridges that go across and you're like right by the coast and it's scenic or something? Is it like, because it's a passenger train, right?
Yeah, it's the Amtrak.
It's even cheaper if you jump onto a freight train. Ever thought about jumping?
No. The problem about jumping on freight trains is if you don't hide well enough, they pull you off and you get arrested. And I kind of would like to not get arrested.
The trick is having a small enough bindle. So when you get your hobo bindle, don't make it so big that they can spot it, and use a dark color. A lot of times the failures, so they'll put like a red handkerchief in their hobo bindle, wrap it up in a red handkerchief, and it's easy to spot train guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is pretty boring. I could see taking a train also because you could, what happened there? Do whatever and then fall asleep, right? Wake up in Orlando.
Yeah.
Just so you do something weird on the train. Are you going to have one of your own? You're not going to have your own room for $100.
No, I just got a seat. But the thing is, since it's a passenger train, there is an observation deck. So if you don't like where you're sitting just on the train, you can get up and go over there.
What, you got assigned seats? Every time I've been on a train, it's like you can just sit anywhere in here, or you got your own room. Like, but if you didn't have your own room, you just sat in this car somewhere.
Yeah. But again,
Assigned seat. Like you gotta buy like this particular, like there's numbers on the seats or some shit, like on an airplane.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, see, that would be less appealing. I thought the nice part about a train is that you could, like, if you go to eat or whatever, you can just get up, walk into another car or wherever it is, and it's sort of like a restaurant. You sit down at some
Well,
table, you eat, you get up, you go.
You
sit
have
down.
to schedule once you get on the train. You have to schedule a reservation at the restaurant car.
Oh shit, that's basically living in, like, is this a Nazi train? It's a fascist train. Fuck this train.
Oh, get over yourself.
For $100, you're gonna have to sit in a seat. This is less appealing. So yeah, that sucks that there's nobody else. What about riding shotgun with Charlie? He's quite a bit north. He's probably
No. I don't even think he. I think he's flying.
there's no way he's driving that far. Yeah, it'd be like 3
No.
miles there. All right, well, I guess you're taking a train. What about taking a bus? What about Ubering? A series of Ubers. Uber to Savannah, Uber to
Taking the bus was
Uber to
actually more money.
Probably. Because you definitely get out on a bus, right? That's not going to be like
Follow me here for a second, okay? I know you don't like the idea of taking a train, but let me put it this way: compared to a bus, the trains will let you check your gun, like you would the airport.
The bus doesn't ask. I thought the bus just doesn't ask.
The bus doesn't ask, but you're not allowed to bring them on there, and if they catch you with them, you get arrested.
I don't know about getting arrested. They can't arrest you for shit, but they can not let you back on the bus, I guess. But the other thing is it's a little less secure, I'm sure. Just having
They will also call the authorities on you.
Are they going to call for what? Being on a bus? It's not illegal to be on a bus. I mean, if it's on you in the bus seat, then I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're just talking about like in a bag under the bus and like a big bag, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. I can't imagine anybody would want to take that kind of bus anyway. Yeah, I can see you're kind of screwed. You got this crazy airport situation, and what, do you even get options with flights? Is it like one a day or something with one carrier?
It wasn't cost effective because they wanted to charge me either, I think it was $350 for the cheap seats, or like $400 for still the cheap seats, but hey, you get to choose where you sit on the plane.
Yeah, I think your only option is to get a car. So you're taking the worst option of the two options that are better than.
Oh, move on.
Yeah. So yeah. So then go over to the calendar. So we already did the calendar. So tomorrow will be the 10th. Will be nothing that I'm aware of, and then we'll have New Hampshire gets decriminalized with a suppressor, and the percussion cap guy gets what, born? Nope, he dies. So that's the calendar. Let's see. All right. Well, so anything else happening?
Nope, that's about it.
All right. Well, I'm getting ready, as the Patreons know, to start another 2A patch batch. See if we can get a couple of 12 organizations some resource and chance to work together before the Gun Rights Policy Conference that's coming up in September. So with that goal in mind, we're starting it now, or at least getting everything going on it. And then it'll run for about a month. And I guess I can go look at the calendar. I was going to have it stop on the 9th, but that doesn't really work. Maybe I still will. But I'm going to look for a date in July. Oh, I still have a bunch of stuff to put on here in July. I was going to look for a time in July to have it end. What am I looking for? Boom. Here and calendar. So, I like to have the things end on a date that's interesting, if possible, since there's enough interesting things on a calendar usually. Let's see. So somewhere in the middle of July, the Militia Act. Probably Crowning signs, no. Samuel Colt born, Gaston Glock born on the 19th. Yeah. 51 anniversary of the moon landing. Meh. Meh. Ice cream is invented on the 23rd.
It's better.
What's weird is this month, the month of June, there's a donut day, right?
Mhm.
Or, I mean, there's donuts are invented on the 22nd, but the donut day was the other day. When was it? Saturday or Monday?
It was the 5th.
Friday. So Friday was donut day, but they're invented on this other day. So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah. I actually went and got donuts on the 5th. So
Yeah, so did I. I didn't really like them. They weren't that good. I got the.
I got Dunkin'.
I really don't like that. But that's the thing. I went with a local version of a Dunkin' Donuts kind of donut, and
Yeah.
I don't like them anymore when they're like actually fried. Just having all that grease and shit. I'm so used to eating the donuts that come out of like the little mini donuts that come out of a bag or out of the little 6-pack.
You've been spoiled.
Well, they're not fried, so there's nothing greasy and gross about them.
They're all baked.
I don't know what they are, but they're more like a, or if they are fried, it's not, it's a different way because they're not they're not, whatever, they're not greasy. So, anyway, so you know what I'm saying? Those kind are just more like a piece of cake, I guess, that are just cut out in the shape of a circle. So yeah, they just didn't like them that much. I got the what do you call that kind? That's a circle, cinnamon roll, I guess. So they don't have circle, that kind of swirl, I guess. That really big.
Yeah.
And it just seemed really fucking greasy. I never really did like them, but I figured I'd try one again. And the other ones were, fairly greasy also. So anyway, so yeah, so we got. I think I'm gonna do it on the 9th because, in addition to Illinois CCW, which was kind of a big deal, 50th state to get CCW, it's also Montana Firearms whatever day, and probably have it end on July 9th. So it won't quite be a month. You were the first one to reply back. We'll see when everybody else replies back, and then last year, we had 12 people. I didn't have to contact everybody necessarily with an email, let's say. So of the people I tried to contact, I'm trying to think now. If I contacted like 5 or 6 people, like 3 of them responded back. So I had like 3 people that just never responded back. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to wait forever. So I just asked other people. And I don't know if that'll happen this year or not.
You should be fine.
Huh?
You should be fine.
I don't want to really care if it's fun. I want it to be more useful.
I said fine. You should be fine. The people that don't respond, well, they just won't respond. But you'll more often than not, the other people will respond. You'll get different people, so it'll be better.
Yeah, well, it's definitely different people. I'm only going to have, I don't know if I told you, I'm only going to have a couple of people from last time on this one. The goal is really get people working together. A couple of people last time, you don't even remember, some of the people you don't even remember who were on it last time because they didn't do shit for it. And that's not the goal. The goal isn't just to make patches for no fucking reason. The goal is to get patches for valid 2A so that you got them for doing stuff, but then also to get people working together. So anyway, so I'm hoping to see, not just a bunch of smiles and shit show, but some sort of communication happen or something. Because again, pretty much everybody, this time it's going to be a lot more organization centric. Is that the word? Like group centric, project centric focus. Right. And I think they all talk to each other, but I don't know. There's, like I said, there's something that we're all going to be susceptible to if we all start everything over every time we do something. So hopefully it'll get some mode of communication in a more constructive way, I guess, than in just the casual awareness or the concern whenever there's a problem or whatever. But the concept of just getting a bunch of people working together or communicating together on a regular basis as opposed to just when it's necessary. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
But let's see. Like I say, some of the projects, like the one I really want to get on board this year is DC project. That's a project where it involves at least, well, there's even more, but at least 50 ladies. So there's really no way for everybody to know everything all the time the way that we're doing it now. But if we do it some new way, if we figure out a new way, then what would happen if, using them as an example, if they figure out something that they can do to keep everybody aware, 50 different people, it's more like, I should probably say like 75 at this point, because some states have more than 2 reps. But 50 plus people that are used to communicating in all different kinds of ways. Once they're successful or using the ways that they're successful, we should be able to, sharing that with others should be useful for other people. But we'll see. I don't know. Have you ever thought about for the gun tube having like regional or state level? I don't know what to call them. Like in a forum, you'd call them a moderator. But like some sort of somebody who's, I don't know, at a moderator level or like a staff level to help out or to keep an eye out on things.
I thought about it, but the issue is he's getting the funds to pay the person to do it.
Well, who the hell would pay that person? I'm talking about a volunteer thing. I don't think anybody would want money from GunTube to make GunTube better than the people that are on GunTube. I don't know. There's 12 people watching right now. They can give me some opinion on that, but I'm not talking about an employee. I'm talking about staff or interns, whatever that word would be.
I'm keeping an eye out for it, but again, I don't know anybody that I can get to do anything yet. So whatever happens.
All right. So what's going on? You just bought a whole new rack, or you took apart your existing rack?
I just bought a new server. I'm going to send it to my data center, and they're going to hook it up to the internet, and I'm going to switch all the chamber servers onto that.
So what is that? That's just a big weird board.
It's a server to host virtual machines.
Yeah, so it's a big board and then a bunch of RAMs, or what are those square things in the front?
Those were processors.
Oh, really? How many? What was that on the tube or on yours?
The server I got takes 2 processors.
No.
So.
We won't click on the gun tube.
It's not working. There it is.
So you're saying these are all processors up here?
No, those are fans. Fans.
These are processors?
Those big gray things, yes, those are processors. Well, those are heat sinks on top of processors, but yeah.
So there's 2 processors here?
There's one processor there, and there's one on the other side.
And then these are just all RAMs for it?
Yep, 128 gigabytes.
Why are there RAMs spaced like that? Why are they 2 and what is that, 4 and 8 and 4?
It's just the way that HP goes and makes their servers. They stick the RAM in weird places, and the idea is it's a one-use server. So basically, it's a thin profile server. So when you close it up, those fans pull air in, and it goes through the empty spaces in the heat sinks to cool off the heat sinks, and also to cool off the RAM. And
so they put them like this because of the airflow.
Yeah, for airflow and thermal.
So then,
here, I got another picture.
It folds up like a pizza box here. This is a hin.
No, panel goes on top. Here, I'll show you. Hold on.
So this is just empty space up front here?
No, right up there. That's where the hard drives go. It uses 2.5-inch hard drives. Like laptop hard drives.
Oh, so it's like the front of the machine, and then hard drives, and then fans, and then RAMs, and then what is that? Power supply? And then this is your slots for stuff.
Like if you want to put a graphics card or another RAID card in there, that's where it would go.
Oh, is that a network card?
Yeah, that's a network card. It's a 4-port network card.
So no onboard network with this kind of board?
No, it doesn't. No, you have to have that card.
What is this thing? Whatever this is.
That's the RAID card.
RAID. So this is a card that has some sort of BIOS level RAID on it?
Yeah, it has a BIOS level RAID with built-in software.
All right, so then that's neat. And then, okay, so then that's weird though that's because it plugs into an expansion slot back here?
Yeah.
And then where do all the hard drive wires plug in at? Up here?
Here, you can see better in this picture. You see?
No.
The hard drives go in the front. That's what it looks like with the top on.
Okay, but then so the hard drives are hot swappable. They don't have cables running to them. And then is that what this is here? These colored wires are just going into the hard drive, whatever rack looking thing up here. That's white. Oh, I'm not looking at my screen anymore. So these colored wires are going into this white shit, which is just the back of that hot swappable hard drive rack.
Yeah, basically that's they're connected into the RAID card and connected into the motherboard, and then they're going all the way up to the front to hook into the where you hot swap the hard drives in and out.
All right, and then on your picture, your picture, go back to that other picture. Now you're looking at my picture.
Okay.
So on that one, what is it? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hard drives shug in there?
8. 8. I've only got those are placeholders. I've only got 3 hard drives in it. 1 SSD and 2 platter drives.
Up to 8?
I can have up to 8 hard drives, yes.
And then, so what, you put in 3 and then RAID 10?
I was thinking maybe, RAID 5 or 6.
Oh, really? So is there better RAIDs for video or something?
Well, it's not so much video. This is for the conferencing part of GunTube, the chamber.
Well, so is there RAIDs for streaming then?
Not so much streaming, but reliability. Like a RAID 0 it's not reliable, but it's fast. A RAID 1+0, it gives you a little redundancy, but again, if you want a long-term RAID that works well, you go 5 or 6, because then you'll have like you can lose up to one or 2 drives and still be able to replace them and continue on.
I thought it was 10 was the best one.
10 is good. I prefer 5 or 6.
So, and then what? As long as you got 3 drives, you can plug, and then you got, okay, so wait, is it with RAID 5 and 6, when you plug in a 4th drive, it's not going to shuffle over to that one?
No, it'll keep it as a hot spare.
A separate thing from the RAID.
Yeah, it'll be a spare in case one of the RAID drives fails.
But you'd have to swap. You'd have to basically clone over one of your RAIDs to the 4th.
No, when you set up an array, you can set up a certain number of hot spares, and what that array will do is, if any of those drives in the array that aren't the spares fail, then they'll fail over and use the hot spares instead.
Well, that's what I mean. So you'd have to have, with a 5 and a 6, you have to have 3 drives before you start getting drives that you don't need anymore that can be pulled out.
Yeah. Right now in this configuration, I'm not using an array. I'm just using a solid state drive for the operating system, and then the storage is on both of those drives.
And then your storage is in a RAID so that you can't lose anything?
Yeah.
And you don't care about your operating system because it's just the operating system?
It's just a solid state drive. It'll be fine.
All right. So what does all this thing cost right here?
This server I just bought, I just upgraded it because I bought a processor for it. It cost me about $875. So that's where my Trump check went.
So How much is that case?
The case for it, I don't know. I bought it all together.
Oh, you just bought it as some sort of a set and then upgraded
Yeah.
the RAM parts.
I didn't upgrade the RAM. I just upgraded by adding another hard drive, and I just upgraded the processors from like really bad processors to really good processors.
Oh, so do you know how much that case would cost by itself if you were a la carting it?
Without any of the stuff in it, probably the $50. But I bought the whole machine. So I bought the whole machine with the RAM and the two hard drives that are in it. You know, the ones on the right. It cost me about $360. And the upgraded processors costed me about $350. And then I had to get the SSD.
When you're saying you bought that whole thing for $300, though, is that a brand new like base model or is that an old used one?
It's a refurb.
Oh, really? So do you get hours on it when you get it refurbished, or is it like refurbished after a spec period?
Well, they just, as far as I know, they just refurbed it. They just replaced any parts that were bad and sent it on its way.
Oh, that'd be scary. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they go, okay, this is refurbished, but we're taking and we're putting like brand new parts into it or something. But if they're just gonna, because that's coming, I don't know. I guess how you don't know. It looked new though, huh? You're looking at it. At least you've seen it. It wasn't all dusty or nothing.
No, actually, it was actually really clean inside. There's no dust in it at all. So, they at least cleaned it out.
Anyway, so now you're talking another $800, and the way you do your thing is you're going to take that physically up and give it to them by your hands, and then they're going to take it from you and go in their room and put it in there, and then you'll go home and your network interface into it and tell it what to do from there.
Yeah, more or less.
Bring your room home again.
Well, I'm not going to take it up there. I'm going to ship it back in its box up there.
Oh, I thought you just took it up there. How far is it physically from you?
It's basically where Sarge lives.
That doesn't fucking help me at all. It doesn't help anybody who's listening.
Near Asheville.
That doesn't fucking tell how many fucking miles or how long it is.
I don't know. Okay, do you know how? Okay, let me ask you this:
by the windmill.
Do you know how many miles it is between you and San Antonio? Do you?
Yeah, 2 days. It takes me 2 days. It takes me about 700 miles. See, that's normal talk for humans. Not like it'll take you twice as long as it takes you to get to the windmill. Fucking anyway. So you're sending it to them. They'll stick it into their server room, and then this will just be the.
Like 275 miles.
Huh? 300?
275.
Yeah. So, see, we think you should drive up there. Rent a car and drive up there. You can mansplain them how they didn't put your server together and they didn't plug it in right or something. You could tell them how they're doing their shit wrong. Anyway, so you're going to then run the chamber off of what we're looking at right here.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
This thing right here. So. That's what I've been working on all evening. So
right on. So why was that? Because they needed it, or you just had nothing else to do?
Right now, I'm running the chamber off of virtual machines from a company, and they're charging me way too much for something I could do myself for cheaper. That's why.
Oh, okay. So basically, somebody else had something similar to this set up, and they're charging you rent, and you just
and the rent is way too high. So.
Sin is saying a buddy had one open on a bench to diagnose something and cranks the fans to full speed, and we could barely talk. Imagine a room full of them. Interesting. So are those noisy fans right there?
Oh yeah, when it's on, you see those servers, they have like a couple settings. Like one setting is it's like cool and quiet. So basically, it'll run for as long as it needs to keep it cool, and then it'll stop. The fans will stop. And then there's another one where he's talking about where you have it on maximum RPM on the fans 100% of the time. So it's extremely noisy. And that's what he's talking about.
That's pretty. I've been in lots of server rooms before, but I don't remember them being super loud like that. Mine were back in the day. I haven't been anything recently.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been, when I was in college, I got a tour of the college's server room. It was loud. It was loud.
And I guess they're a little bit, but there's a lot of AC. The ones I was in that was cool was in the West Coast chunk of, or I don't know what I'm just going to call it, but our data centers in AOL, we'd go in there. You couldn't, well, not everybody could go in there, of course, but when you go into rooms like that, they got that gas where like something happens, you're dead. Like it'll just pull all the oxygen out of the room real quick.
Yeah, it's to keeps the fire from spreading and damaging things.
It just destroys the fire. Yeah, it kills the fire immediately.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's that kind of shit. But I was just more impressed with just the awesomeness of them. But that was back in the day, and
Well,
the
the server rooms haven't really changed too much, other than the technology has gotten better to manage them and to run them. That's about it.
They didn't look like that. I mean, server fans were normal fans. They didn't look like that. Not necessarily. They looked different than other fans, but they didn't. Whatever. Plus, I don't remember servers being that thin. Depends on what you're talking about too. But back in the days, servers were thicker.
Yeah. Well, most servers do go on a rack. Now when servers go on a rack, it's based on the size. That's a 1U server, so it's like one. It's the thinnest profile you can get. It goes higher, like you get 2Us, 3Us, 4, which basically you just add another server on top of that, and that's how thick it is.
Yeah, like Will was saying, when I would go into like the places doing satellite, that's what it looks like. It looks like a satellite server.
Yeah.
Where their stuff was always the little thin ones. But I never paid attention to what they were doing. I just assumed those were some sort of channel, blah, blah, blah stuff that was more just a bunch of hardware. But you're already talking, what are these, 5 1/4? Or no, 3 1/2? 3 1/2?
They're 2.5 drives.
2.5 drives for like laptop drives, basically.
Well, not specifically, but they're enterprise style drives, but they're the size of laptop drives.
Okay, so it's a form factor for servers. But anyway, it's smaller than the old ass hard drives. And I'm guessing back in the day, the form factor was big ass hard drives, whatever ETA or whatever that was.
Yeah, some servers still use the 3.5-inch ones. The normal standard hard drives like you would have in your desktop. They still have those, but I got this one because this one was on sale. So I got the 2.5-inch hard drive one. So
right on. All right. Well, so when you send, how long before it's in place? Like, how long does it take to ship up there?
I don't know. Well, I'll let you know when I go drop it off. I got to do some more testing on it first before I ship it on its way, because I got to configure it. I've got everything installed on it and working right now as far as operating system and everything. I just have to get everything else to run all the gun tube chamber off of it set up before I send it out, because I don't want to have to configure it away when it's right here. I don't want to configure it when it's at the data center. I want to configure it right here and then send it to the data center so I don't have to mess with it later.
That made me think. I went over and checked my email over here because I'm still waiting to hear back about some mare's leg. So anyway, it made me go think about I haven't heard nothing back on that.
So
all right, well, so anything else? Looks like we got the 2A fund is going to be participating again this year.
Cool.
On the 2A patch batch, which is Tony's project out of Chattanooga, where I believe the idea is to offer some sort of financial support to Second Amendment organizations, Second Amendment focused organizations. I think monthly, right? Each month they'll support a different organization, or the fund supports a different organization. Obviously it's a thing that's being created, and it's one guy and he's trying, and the world's kind of crazy and whatever. But I think it's good to see him still kicking at it. And I think the concept's valid as hell. Having a three-letter organization, non-government for sure, but just Second Amendment. If you believe in the concept, you put some money towards the project, and then the project funds, sort of like community venture capitalism, or a different approach at crowdfunding or crowd gifting. Maybe that's the way to call it. I mean, it's a whole different thing. So anyway, I think the 2A fund's got a lot of potential, and I've been the beneficiary of it, I think, right? And at least he's pointed it at projects I'm working at, which has been appreciated. But I know that when he points it at individuals who have attempted to get to places or do things, it's helped out a lot. When it's an individual trying to do something, a couple $100 or whatever it is, $100 even, that helps a lot. So
Yeah,
I really think that's got the potential. And can you imagine if 2A fund, or when 2A fund, builds up a level of funding where it can drop some substantial funds each month? That could be changed. That could be really neat.
yeah. 2A Fund has helped out GunTube as well. So we were the beneficiaries in 1 month, and it really helped out, and I really appreciate it.
And then, like I say, I've sent out some feelers. The Patreons know who we're talking about. And, well, basically, I let them all know. As soon as I hear back from enough people, I'll get the artwork going and we'll get it moving. Just don't want to start it up with no artwork. I want to have some idea of who all is working or who all is going to be included. And then we'll have a couple of question marks in there just because I think that was fun. And then, like I say, as soon as we got the enough thumbs up, then we'll get kicking. Turn it on. It looks like it'll probably end on July 9th. That way we can get everything made and shipped and to people before the Gun Rights Policy Conference this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it'll basically be the same. As far as the way it works, it'll be the same functionality as last year. Everybody grabs a batch of 12, and together those funds accumulate and send out. Well, it's going to be a little different because of the organizations involved. It'll be 100 going to everybody except for the DC project, and I'm going to send them 250 because the DC project is more than 50 ladies already, just them. So it would be lame to give them barely enough to have them and then not be able to use them. So
Right.
it would be more effective to give them enough to each have one or two, even one, and then have enough to either sell or decide to give everybody two, but basically to do it as they please, to have some instead of them having to decide what are we going to do one way or the other. Plus, it's an awesome organization and they will deserve a double dip, so to speak. So with that change, otherwise it'll be the same. Everybody gets a 12 pack, and then all those 12 packs add up to give the 12 organizations 100 each. And I guess I was thinking there might be a second one that needed more. I don't think so. So I guess it'll just kind of depend on who all gets involved and how complicated some of the designs are and stuff. But trying to remember the lessons learned last time. Keeping in mind I haven't done my taxes this year, so I still don't know if I actually did it right last year. But can't wait forever. Got to get it done before gun rights policy, or I'd like to get it done before gun rights policy. So we're going to go at it with a couple of unknowns, but it's never fun if you know everything going into it. With that, though, we've been sitting here for 48 minutes. There's 14 people chatting or watching out there.
Yeah.
And people have said stuff, but I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to host a conversation. So if Knight's Race got something to say or y'all got something to say, we can chat about it. Otherwise, I definitely got work to do.
Are you looking at 10 out to GRPC this year, or are you just?
Nah, probably not.
Okay.
That's too far. Going across the whole continent.
Yeah. But you could drive.
No, I have no problem driving, but I don't know. There's not necessarily a need for me or to be there. There's going to be plenty of people with cameras there, and
Right.
but no, probably not. Not in September. I don't really see it.
All right. Well, there's
But
that.
if you were going to go out there, let's see. When is the two-way rally this year?
I don't know. Are they having it this year? I heard October, maybe.
Started talking about it, but they didn't post it on their own freaking site. So let's see if they talks about it. But they had sent out like a bunch of stuff like a couple of weeks ago, going, "Hey, let's it's 5 months out. Let's start telling everybody about it." And they didn't post anything on their own site, on their own page at least. I think it's coming up here. Eventually, we'll get to their website, maybe. Maybe. Are you telling me the website doesn't exist anymore? There we go. Wow, what happened there? Copy. Paste. Rally.com. They really lose their website in less than a year? You can't even do that. Like, who even buys a domain for less than a year? It hasn't even been a year.
That's just sloppy.
It's worse. I mean, you have to literally go ask your host, "Can you remove that? Can you please pull that down?" Sin is asking, "Is the GRPC still happening?" Yes, it is.
They announced it. They announced it a few weeks ago, right? So yeah,
they announced it a while back, but they also reiterated that it is happening. It is not canceled.
It's happening no matter what.
Well, and I wouldn't say that, but as of this point, unless something changes, it is definitely on. It's not like some things that are like tentatively or when we find out. I mean, they had put it on hold, like everything was for a bit when they first started the whole virus scare. But then, well, not too long ago, they came back and had some shows where they said, "Oh no, it's definitely happening. We're no longer scared. We're going to have it." But because of the world's crazy right now, and it's before the election, I'll just put the caveat, to TBA or whatever, like, be aware that the world's crazy this year. The anti-capitalists certainly want to see capitalism fail this year. So who knows what's next? But yeah, looks like their Second Amendment rally site is down. So unless they went around and like intentionally pulled, who else had it posted? She would have posted it. I forgot what that picture looked like, and it would have been a while ago now. But it was like for a while there, everybody was saying, it's 5 months out or whatever it was. It was definitely before the riot business. I definitely picked somebody that posts a lot. Is it before Easter? No, after that. Problem is, I'm pretty sure it was like a pretty black post that was telling everybody, put it on your calendar or something like that.
Not sure, man. Not sure.
Trying to think who the hell else put it on their page. This dude posts a lot too. I'm pretty sure he put it on there.
Since you're saying, I'm just assuming all events are sideways until further and official notice. A lot of stuff changing fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think tentatively or barring circumstances beyond our control, I still think GRPC is happening this year.
You do think?
I do think, yes.
You said still, but I think it sounded different. But yeah, I agree. It's possible that they'll continue stuff, but I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. I suspect though that it won't, right? It'll end and everything will start getting back to normal. So by the time September comes around, things will be kind of back to normal.
It'd just be another day of the week, right?
Or at least I'm kind of expecting that, unless again something crazy keeps coming. So I still don't remember. Maybe they took it down. Maybe they said, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we're not going to do that rally. So could you go back and take down that alert?" Because now I can't remember how far ago.
Did you check Tony Simon's?
Tony
Instagram?
posts way too much. Yeah, I could, but he did post it. But he posts even more than this guy. I wish they would have had like. Oh, is this it? Is this it? Today was. Today was special. Great crowd, amazing people. Oh, this is from November. Holy shit! Did I go back far too far? So maybe he doesn't post as much as I thought he did.
No.
I'm like, oh, this looks just like it because it was it. So, as I say, I wish they would have posted the flag, that like rally flag as the post, but I don't think any of them actually did. So it was definitely before this stuff. Doesn't look like any of this. No. Maybe they asked him to pull it down.
Huh.
Maybe it's 2A rally 2020.
Try that.
40 posts only. Oh, it's all mine. What's this? I'll be there. Save the date. Finally. See, this is the shitty picture. I thought it was black. It turned out to be white. So 10/24. So if you did go to the Second Amendment thing, you'd have to spend a freaking month out there. And when is Wanamaker?
Wanamaker is in November, 14th and 15th, I think.
Look, that was horrible. Wanamaker? Wanamaker? Wanamaker Central 29?
November 14th and 15th, 2020.
So, yeah, you'd have to go to Florida in September and then go to DC in October, and then go to Watchamaker in November.
Yeah, if I could go all those places, I'd be happy, but that may not be in the cards.
Well, that's where the tour would go. Wheelden, well, I'm just going. Hopefully, you guys are looking at online options. They end up canceling, which would be good for me because then I could actually attend. Don't want them to cancel it. And online options are, they're available. They're not unaware, but online is not the same thing. It's not for this. You can't replace everything in real life. So you could get stuff across. You can get a message across an online thing, but when it's not a message, when it's just, a chance for 3 days to hang out with people and to come up with something as a group over here and then be able to bounce it off of somebody who's standing over there and then go, wait a minute, let me go ask this guy because he's smoking right now. Go out there and ask somebody and then come back in. No, somebody's already done this. I just found out that this is backwards or it should be done left-handed or something. That kind of stuff. would just take forever and probably could never be done. Now, some of that stuff is just garbage and it doesn't matter, but I'm sure the things that are awesome have come from that. So you need that sort of petri dish. You need that potential. You need all that potential energy in one place. I think, once a year is probably enough for it. But then, yeah, I think having that
Yeah.
enhanced by a monthly situation would be beneficial because then you'd have an even larger potential explosion each year when you get together. It'd be like preheating the fuel, whatever. But no, I hear you. So I don't want him to cancel it, but Night Strike's going and he just built a fancy new chamber. So you could mansplain / shame him into doing some sort of interactive GRPC.
He's kind of planning on it, but don't tell anyone. So, anyways, I just looked, and it would have been, if they still had their website up, it would have been secondamendmentrally.com, but it looks like they didn't renew either their domain or their web hosting. So, nuts to them. I mean, I guess they're not doing the rally.
Well, you could say that if you expect everything to be like fancy, polished, whatever. But if they just don't give a shit, then they could definitely be still doing the rally. So then don't cut off your face, or don't cut off the nose to spite the face, or whatever they say. They intended to just have it be a catalyst or a spark. Then they've suggested they're going to do it again. It is possible, though, that they didn't want to try to put out a message that they're canceling it, instead just erase it. That would be an effective way to change a mind or change plans. But I don't know. Or they could just be idiots. It's tough to say. Or could it be any other number of things? They could have a host that got mad and pulled them. I didn't know this is what it was, and pulled them. Or who knows? Or maybe, bad guys got in there and deleted it or something.
Yeah.
But they do say 42 minutes ago. Where was this actually posted? May 24th? About a month ago, right? They were saying, not a month ago, a couple weeks ago, they were saying it's 5 months out. Start planning, no doubt. We're all ready to start moving forward for the last couple of months. We're looking forward to a great gathering of like-minded Americans. Celebration and defense of our Second Amendment rights. Save the date, October 24th. Share the information, make your travel plans, invite your friends. Well, if you're on Shitty Book, check out the event at Rally page. Good. And then this is a repost from Mr. Boomstick. So I don't know who that is. You ever heard of this guy?
No.
Looks like a 2A activist in Maryland.
Only guy I know in Maryland is Kingpin.
I don't think it's Kingpin. Mostly memes.
No, I don't know.
Boom. All right. So, boom. They can do breakout sessions and all that sort of thing online. Probably not the best audience for that kind of meeting. Anyway, I hope that works out. Alternative plans aren't necessary. Like I say, I think both, right? We want to see it succeed but that's tough. Those are some ornery, stubborn people that have good intentions and the only people doing stuff in some cases. And if you piss them off too bad, then they're not going to do anything, and then nobody will do it, which sucks. And, so unless there's a giant change in the way the world works, we got the people who are interested that are interested, and they're going to do it the way they're going to do it. And the best the rest of us could do is fill in the gaps, be the mortar between the bricks, or be the connecting rods or something. But yeah, maybe I fucking don't know. If I knew, I would have tried it. I tried it for the last couple of years. I'll keep trying, but anyway, I don't know if going there is the way to do it. And that's not a no-brainer for me. That's the other side of the continent again. If it was a little quicker together, I could almost think about a trip, go out, come back, but it's spaced out over 3 months or whatever to hit the different events that would be interesting this year, that are still coming up. But nah, I'm not. I make $1,000 a month on Instagram or off Patreon, so that's not the level of driving around the country for 4 months out of the year. And I don't know if I wouldn't be interested in turning it into something. Now, Charlie, I don't know when does school start? I guess September, August.
September, I guess. If they do start it again.
That's the thing. If they started, but somebody like Charlie, it'd be neat to see Charlie kick off with the Gun Rights Policy Conference and take his stagecoach up to DC for that thing. But I don't know if he would need to, because he would go to Gun Rights Policy Conference, go home, go to the DC project, and go home. He's close enough to do all that. That's why it's just not practical. If there was a bunch of shit happening on this side of the country, it's a lot more practical for me to get there. But anyway, with that, I don't know if anybody else has anything else they want to chat about.
It doesn't look like it.
I'm not be saying anything, but they weren't saying anything before. Talking about reloading. You ever been over to the Reloaders Network?
I have. I've read a few articles.
Have you ever hung out there as a community?
No, not really.
I've heard.
I don't reload, so I don't.
Me either. Well, I mean, so I don't. I've heard good things and bad things, but I have not heard enough consistent either way to have an opinion on what's happening over there. But it would be interesting to see another community startup to keep the conversation going. Right?
It would be interesting. And I believe Diane was talking about that machine, that loading machine, because her company, Bishop, what was it? Bishop, I forget the name. Yeah, I think it's Bishop Ammo. Yeah, you're right. They made a new round, and they introduced it at SHOT Show. So I believe that machine they got is so they could manufacture more ammo, I guess.
More than likely, but I'm not sure. I mean, they do other stuff, so I don't know what that Mark 7 Revolution is. I'm guessing it's fully automated, and Revolution means it's one of the things like what Foose has, some sort of robot.
Yeah.
I like taking apart ammo more than I like putting it together. And I like looking at it, but putting it together seems tedious to me and like work. So I don't do it, and I don't buy stuff to do it. Or at least I haven't in a long time. All the stuff I bought was at a gun shows, basically.
Right. I've looked into it, but for what I shoot, it's just not practical. So, I mean, I shoot a lot of AK ammo, and the thing is, you're not going to reload steel.
Yeah, see, she's saying 45 ACP and Colt.
Okay. So I guess they're
They
branching
got
out.
more than one machine. Plus, they got more than one machine. So half time, it's worth setting up another machine so that you don't have to constantly change things back and forth and whatever. So once they start getting addicted, that kind of thing happens. All right, well, we're at a point where we've been going live for an hour. You tell by the evidence right here. There's still 9 people watching, which is not legally binding, and I got to go to the bathroom. So I think I'm going to wrap it up and get back to work. For me, this is like noon. So I've been listening to a lot of these interviews, and I've been listening to this one, a Google talk, which is kind of like a TED talk, like I was saying, from the guy from the movie Catch Me If You Can, Frank Abagnale. And the movie is fake, right? The movie is not real. The gist of it is correct, but the details are all fake. So it's been really interesting. I've been 25 minutes into an hour. He's already explained his whole situation, and now he's been with the FBI for 40 years. He's explained the whole thing, his life story and working with the FBI and everything. And he's only 25 minutes into it. So I'm guessing he's probably going to talk for a little bit more, and then he's going to start doing questions. And honestly, the things that I've listened to that are TED Talk or whatever they're called, Talks at Google, this series, the questions from the audience are typically like really weak. Like they're unthought out, really like selfish, stupid questions that are like dumb people. Like, did you just listen to this, or are you just making something up, or like they're like agenda based. Like you can tell these people are like, I didn't like this guy. No, I just think that they're not useful. Like they're not people with open minds and want to listen to the people that are talking. Because I've only listened to ones that I would be interested in, right? So the people that I'm listening to are probably not the people that Google want to listen to, or the people that work at Google would care to listen to, always. But they'll listen to them. But instead of like trying to understand or anything, they'll challenge. And that's where it's like kind of douchebaggery, because most of the time I don't expect it to be total softball questions, but I want, if the guy's there and he's talking about Atari, or he's talking about Apple, or in this case, he's talking about basically being a counterfeiter and hacker, life hacker, whatever you want to call it, it's a con man type of thing.
Social engineer.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask that guy some stupid question about something dumb. Like, what do you think about some topic of the day or some pop culture? Like, it's just stupid. Like, I guess some people care about your opinion on that, but I'd rather you delve into it, you know? So when like some of the schools, I don't know enough about them, but like they'll have a talk at a school sometimes. And then when a question comes up from like a student, you know, somebody who's still learning and is interested, they'll ask them a question that like probes into what they just talked about and actually isn't, you know, you get some insight to the actual situation or the history or something. But these Google questions are typically like challenges. Like, why do you think it's right to do that? And it's just like, fuck you. Like, I don't care. And I don't want to waste, you know, if you got the chance to listen to this guy and ask him something interesting, you're asking him some petty crap like a child. Like, it's just stupid. Like, shut up and, you know, let somebody ask a question and actually listen to the guy, instead of like not listening and then challenging them on like, you know, why are you wearing that colored pants or something stupid. Hey, there's Crump.
There's Crump.
He had Rhonda Ezell on earlier. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Good chat. Ezell versus City of Chicago. Not very many people who have taken something up to Supreme Court, challenged a gun law, then still hang out and like conversations with people. Right on. And since John's out there, you want to send a link out. He's got his niece is having some trouble. So if you got a couple of bucks and you want to see it go to a good cause, trying to raise some money for some medical stuff for his niece. Watched a couple of science-related TED Talks. Can't stomach them. TED Talks are tougher because there's a bunch of different TEDs. You know, there's like the real TED Talks, and then there's all these fake TED Talks. So there's some things that are pseudo TED Talks. This thing I'm talking about, though, is something called Talks at Google. It's a whole channel with 1 million subs. So it's a fake real channel on YouTube. It's called Talks at Google. And I've seen maybe 6 of them so far. And most of the time, if I'm listening to somebody and they turn out to be interesting, like the guy from Atari. Why can't I think of his name? Brunel, something like that. The guy who invented Atari, though. What is this? What is that
Nolan Bushnell.
Nolan? Yeah, that's his name. So that guy, I knew he was interesting or whatever, but once I started listening to his different things, like I say, sometimes it's just an hour-long conversation with him. For him, it's going to be all kinds of interesting because he's into the game Go, which is like chess, I guess. Like a ton of the world really likes to play Go, and he really does. So I've seen lots of talks where he's just talking about the game Go, but then he's Atari, and he's a business guy, and he's one of the people that brought computer games to exist. So he's done like all kinds of firsts. He's Chuck E. Cheese, right? So he's done a lot of neat stuff. And then he was a millionaire and invested just a lot of money in interesting things. He invented what's Google Maps, basically, like the underlying tech to Google Maps is all from him and companies that he started. And what was the other one? Something else. So he's done some really interesting stuff. So when you start listening to his conversations, it totally depends on where he is. Because if, somebody's asking him questions about something else, it's super interesting. So some of these people, thanks. The second link here is the GoFundMe for his niece. Yeah, but way so much more than just Pong. But anyway, that guy is one that I really, if I watch an hour-long chat of his, on YouTube, you go down to the bottom right and it'll recommend similar videos basically. And I'll just look for more videos from the same guy, a girl, whoever, that are hour or more, because I don't really care about 20-minute videos. Those are usually clips or something. So as I'll just explore around, I'll find somebody like, I don't know, somebody who's interesting who might be in the computer field, but then I'll listen to him talk about cars. And then it's totally different. It's just a totally different conversation, but because it's from that person that you're kind of familiar with because of whatever field they're in, you get a whole nother perspective, I guess, on what their hobbies are. So anyway, some of this has been pretty neat to just follow around.
I mention this because I like watching car videos too on YouTube. And I know not everybody's into car videos and cars and vehicles and all that, but one of them was doing a live stream, not yet, more or less yesterday, and I was watching a bit of it, and then out of nowhere, apparently he is, this guy that I watched, I didn't even know, but apparently he said, more than a couple, pro Second Amendment stuff because it flat out with the situation in the country, you're better off with firearms than you are without. And I thought that was interesting and neat. So I just figured I'd mention that. So
That'd be actually, now that you mentioned that, that would be kind of a cool project for somebody who might be listening and goes, oh, I don't know somebody, or I can't go places, or I don't have a fancy camera. Just compiling a database or a series of videos where you explore stuff like that, when there's a positive gun thing that happens where you wouldn't expect it. You could look at anything, where out of nowhere somebody voices a pro Second Amendment point of view. Like that would be neat to archive it, because sometimes, and I think probably often, when somebody's kind of saying something pro gun where you wouldn't expect it, where you're saying like in a car situation, or I don't know, maybe like in a food situation or like in some kind of business situation, somewhere where you wouldn't expect it, I'll bet you there's a pretty good chance they're going to catch some flack. And even if they don't catch flack immediately, they might have just made an enemy of some son of a bitch out there who's hiding behind something, and now they got an enemy in business, or they got an enemy in their cookie company or something, and they didn't know it because they're just trying to be cool. And as a way to offset that, acknowledging the times when they're positive would be kind of neat.
Yeah, this guy builds. He builds replica movie cars. Like say somebody wanted a Back to the Future DeLorean. His business is he goes and builds them a Back to the Future DeLorean.
Right.
So I've been watching some of his later videos because he's been doing some really cool stuff, and just out of nowhere he's doing a live stream and he's like, said he's talking about what's going on in the world today, and he's like, yeah, it's better that if you have firearms than not having them. And by the way, in order to own firearms, you have to be really, really good. You can't have any criminal record or anything. So, it was interesting that he actually said that. I wasn't expecting him to say that and come out and out of nowhere, just right there.
Now, was anybody reacting to it?
No, actually, nobody said anything bad. Though he did have a couple trolls that were just trolling him just to, it's YouTube. You're gonna have a few trolls that just troll the troll.
Yeah,
and
just to see that they have.
And instead of interacting with him, he was just banning them.
Nice.
So,
well, and that's the silver lining maybe is that where most people, well, we can say most people don't talk about anything important, or guns at least, right? Unless they have to. This is one of those times when, I don't know if they have to, but there's an opportunity where they can, or it's more appropriate than it would be, and there's more chance that we'll see that people acknowledge and that kind of shit.
It was certainly refreshing to see. So,
all right, I keep muting so that I can yawn, and pretty much everybody's just saying good night, good night, good night. So I think everybody's checking out. It is getting late, and we've been chatting for more than an hour. Thanks for sticking around. Night Strike jumping in. I'm not really trying to get famous. What's what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to make friends, get famous, or get a fortune over here with this show. I'm really just trying to create a place for conversation. So when people jump in, definitely makes it better. It's not just for the people that jump in, though, so the people that are out here chatting as well. You made the show. So thanks again for jumping or showing up tonight and jumping into the conversation. Remember that John Crump is doing good stuff, interviewing 2A people, networking people, facilitating the projects that are out there, helping out Gun Owners of America.
And he's writing good articles for AmmoLand.
Well, that's his thing, but I don't care what he does for his own business. He's doing his own thing for sure. But I'm just talking as far as 2A and stuff. And but he does use his position at AmmoLand to help out other 2A projects and that. So anyway, people doing good stuff. Right now he's got his family is having a situation. So they've got this GoFundMe you can click on, and feel free to, if you can, or help spread the word. The power of a whole bunch of people is that none of us has to take on a burden. We can help each other out. So if you can help share that, you never know what other people's situations are. And like Night Strike said, everybody's got different uses for their income. So with that, I'll say well wishes to you and yours, everybody out there. Thanks for showing up to this chat. Take advantage of these opportunities for us to stay in touch. That's what it's all about. At the same time, don't forget that real life is happening all the time. So put down the phones and the computers every once in a while and get out there and enjoy it while it's good weather and whatnot. And you got good arms and legs and lungs and eyes and ears, if you got them, to fart around out there. Take advantage of it, and then share your experiences on the line. But don't make all your experiences on the line, right? With that, though, go use the chamber over on the tube, which is a better place than El Pato. We only use El Pato, so I can do this. As soon as he gets one of them servers that lets me do this, I'll quit using El Pato. But I like to be able to do this. But anyway, thanks everybody for showing up. We will be back to pick you up later. Oh, you want to plug anything?
Just check out store.guntube.org. Buy stuff. Also go to gearwebsites.com and buy stuff too.
Good. Appreciate it.
That's it. We'll see you later, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. Stay safe.